And hello YouTube, and welcome back to another episode of The Zone TV Movie Entertainment. With me, your host Jonathan, once again bringing you my thoughts and review for the brand new Christian Bale, Matt Damon based film, Ford vs. Ferrari, based on a true story. So Ford vs. Ferrari literally tells the story of the Ford company versus Ferrari, meaning the Ferrari company, you know, the sports car stuff. So in this movie, you have Matt Damon, who's pretty much an owner of another car company called Chevelle, I believe. Anyway, he gets recruited by Ford to help him pretty much help Ford beat Ferrari in this 24-hour France race that Ferrari always wins. Ferrari always wins this race, and they always stick it to Ford. And, you know, Ford's always been based on, you know, practical cars, you know, normal cars. They never really had their influence in racing cars until later on, until after this movie, I'm pretty sure. So Matt Damon's character comes in. He used to be a race car driver, well, not really like NASCAR, but more like stock race car driver. He used to be very good. Something happened to him where, you know, he couldn't do it anymore. And now he owns his own company. He basically builds cars. He sells them. And, you know, but he needs sponsorships. He needs other people to back him up so that way he can sell his cars more often. He sells like the muscle cars and all this and that. Then you have Christian Bale, who's his friend, who's always been a driver, a race car driver. And that's all his passion is. And he always likes to do it. And when you first meet them, you see their chemistry, and they play off each other very, very well, and it worked. Matt Damon is the soft-spoken type guy. You know, he's the lead of this movie. You know, you watch him, you know why he's the lead. You know what he's doing in this movie is like very interesting. And then of course you have Christian Bale. He's the hardhead. You know, he doesn't really take orders too much, and he's a family man. But you know, he's one of those obviously come from another country, and all he wants to do is just be like a good driver, and that's all he cares about. And of course his family as well. So when we get to the point where they have to team up with Ford to pretty much take out Ferrari, that's when the story really kicks in, and you really see how, you know, these two giant, mobile cars, factions, you know, how they play off each other and how they really don't like each other. You know, the suits behind the doors, they they want people to they want real NASCAR drivers to race their cars. And while you have Ferrari, they got their drivers and they're all ready to go. They know they have the confidence to beat them forward all the time, and they have done that in the past. And this movie, like I said before, is basically that. Look, this movie is great. I really like this movie a lot. This movie had humor in it. It showed cool cars back in the day. You know, those cars, you look at those cars and you're like, why didn't they just stick to those models now? I mean, Ford had some beautiful old, the Ford GT. That's like the very first race car they ever built. That's a beautiful car. Ferrari had some of the coolest looking cars I've ever seen in my life. And I thought that stuff was cool. The racing scenes were great. Christian Bale, I thought, did a really good job of playing this tough guy. But, you know, he's kind of arrogant a little bit. But, he doesn't really abide by the rules as much. And you know, he has the face that it's like, yeah, he's not the poster child. But, Matt Damon believes in him. He knows he can get the job done. And you have Matt Damon, you know, he has issues. But, he knows what he's doing. And he knows how he handle his own business, his own company as well. But, sometimes he needs help as well. Like I said, I like the chemistry between the two of them. I like the actor who played Mr. Ford. He was good. The actor who played Mr. Ferrari, he was good. The way that they had their back and forth, talking to their people who work for them to talk to the other people, that was fun. I think the cast did a really good job in this movie. Like I said, the story is very interesting. I didn't even know there was a big, huge 24-hour race. That was insane. This movie literally had a 24-hour race. I mean, obviously the movie didn't drag on like that, but I'm talking about the race itself was supposedly 24 hours, where you see teams of, one team from Ferrari, one team from Ford. They have drivers, and then they'll take turns racing. And that was very cool and very competitive as well. And the you know, the way that they drove the cars were very cool. Seeing these old classic cars duke it out in the race. And, you know, it's very different from, like, NASCAR. Because NASCAR is all, like, just, you know, very slow, and try to pass the person by, like, laps and times. This one, dude, they literally are racing each other in these, like, these small little tracks and all that. And I thought that was very cool. You know, I think it's called stock racing. I'm not really sure what the actual term for these kind of racing cars are, but it was very interesting and I liked it very much. Like I said, there was a lot of cool humor in it. I thought Christian Bale did a great job. I'm a huge fan of his. My favorite movie of his is always going to be American Psycho, but he was great in this movie. I thought he did a really, really good job in this movie. Matt Damon did a really good job as well. He's always been good in movies he's in. So, like I said, I highly recommend checking this movie out, especially if you're a race car fan or NASCAR fan or whatever. You're gonna like this movie a lot, especially learning the history between Ferrari and Ford, because we all know Ford has been the tech giant of cars. You know, they're the ones who created cars first. You know, but then you have these other people from Europe and other places like Ferrari. They come out of nowhere and they're like the new big shot, and they want to make sure that their cars are the ones that kids want to use and all that. It's a very fascinating story, and I really liked it a lot. I mean, there's some stuff in here I didn't like the fact that there's some stories of Matt Damon's past that they didn't really explain too much, which I really wish they did, because, you know, it would make his character more, you know, interesting. And, of course, the ending to me felt a little bit like, wait, that happened too quickly. Something happens in the end of the movie that you're like, wait, there's no explanation. Why? Why is that? I mean, I don't know. Maybe, you know, maybe it'll be in a deleted scene or something. But it was just the very, very end of this movie kind of like felt very quick. It happens and then it just, they acknowledge it a little bit, but they don't explain why that happened, you know? And I don't want to spoil it because it's like, wow. But like I said, I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. I highly recommend watching this movie. This movie doesn't drag on. A little slow parts a couple of times, but when it, like, especially when you see Matt Damon and Christian Bale on screen together, you want to listen to them, especially the banter they have with each other. Sometimes you're sure, like, do they really like each other as friends, or do they hate each other's guts? They played that very well with each other, and I thought that worked. There's this one scene where there's a scene in this movie that has to do with a boardroom, and I thought that was very interesting because it really shows like what these companies would do to be desperate to beat their competition, you know. And, you know, Ford thought that Ferrari was the competition, and Ferrari thinks that, yeah, American company Ford, they're nothing compared to us. We're exotic cars. We're fancy. Kids want our cars. They don't want their little crappy little box cars that they have. Because let's face the facts, back in those days, Ford was just known as for just, you know, the family cars, the little wagons and all that. You know, they weren't exactly built for fast cars like the Dodge, you know, the Mustangs or the GT cars. You know, obviously, I think after this movie, like after the actual true story, I think after that, people started to realize that, yeah, Ford can build racing cars, but for people who just wants to have cool cars, you know. And I think that's what the story at the end of the movie of this movie is, you know. It just pretty much shows that, you know, anybody can make a racing car. It's just the way you use it all depends on the person, I guess. But like I said, I thought this movie was great. I really enjoyed it. I'm probably going to go see it again eventually. But my question is what's your favorite car? I mean, the Ferrari or Ford. Mine forever will be the Ford GT. That car is just beautiful. I love that car. For me, I think the Ferrari Spider might be my favorite Ferrari. But anyway, leave me a comment below. Let me know what you guys thought about the movie if you saw it. Are you guys interested in this movie? Are you a Matt Damon fan, Christian Bale fan, both of their fans? What's your favorite movie of theirs? Leave me a comment below. Let me know what you guys thought. And stay tuned for more. Thank you very much and have a good day.